Welcome to my first broadcast. My name is Robert Joyce, and I have a website at 30minutelife.com, and I'm also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And this is my new experiment. This is my new project. I'm going to see what it's like to be broadcasting and reading my blog posts. And I've got a blog that has been on the go for nearly 3 years now. And I'm really enjoying it. Now there are times when I'm not doing it as often as others. That's true. But I've been consistently posting for nearly 3 years. And it has opened up many opportunities for me in this time period. Anyway, the idea is that I'm going to read my blog posts, and then afterwards I'll also comment on, has my situation changed since the time when I wrote that post. So as we all know, the world changes, and certainly at the moment with this coronavirus around, we know how much the world can change. Anyway, let's start. I'm going to read this post and move on from there. This post was originally posted on July 25th, 2017. What a strange name for a blog. It is strange and initially hard to understand, but I'll try to explain. I have a few medical issues in my life. They are multiple sclerosis, sarcoidosis, asthma, and chronic headaches. Multiple sclerosis has been a part of my life for 25 years. At the start of my illness, I had numb heels. I noticed this when I returned to Ireland from London for my graduation from university. When I returned back to London, I went to the doctor. I was very fortunate that the doctor I went to had MS too. She referred me to a neurologist in Queen Square, London, and within 4 months of getting my first symptoms, I was diagnosed with relapsing remitting MS. That could be a world record for diagnosis of MS, as it can sometimes take years. At that time, there was no treatment for MS. The only recommendation was for me to get on with my life and take evening primrose oil, which I'm still taking today. My illness did progress, and after a year I had to quit my job. I didn't have the energy to do it. Fatigue was bad and my mobility had become worse, particularly my right leg. It was heavy, like walking in water. My left leg was perfect, with no issues. It reminds me of the Peter Cook and Dudley Moore sketch about the one-legged actor who wanted to play Tarzan. On returning to Ireland and my parents, I took a few months to rest, and then I started a small shop selling giftware to tourists visiting Connemara. Family, friends and acquaintances helped me, and gradually I carved out a new life for myself. Now, fast forward 21 years to July 2014. I had been living MS symptom-free for nearly 10 years. I had been told about an amazing drug, low-dose naltrexone, and you can listen to an interview I did with Mary Bradley about my journey. This drug managed to stop my MS, and I had no more symptoms. Amazing. On the 18th of July 2014, I was in a minor car accident. I was stopped in traffic and someone crashed into the back of my car. I heard a loud crack in my neck. I was a little dazed at the time and shook my head. I got out of the car and inspected the damage, exchanged details with the person who crashed into me, and headed home. I was again living with my parents, helping my dad look after my mom who was ill. The next day, I started with a headache, pains down my arms, amongst other things. Since that day, I have not had a single day without a headache. Not one, not even a minute. My headache starts the day at a 5 out of 10, never less than that. Depending on the level of my activity, it can sometimes get to an 8 out of 10. I have regular spikes in my headache that cause me to flinch away from the pain, which usually is on the right side of my head. My symptoms describe a migraine headache. I've tried many medications, and the only ones that do reduce the pain a little also cause me to be sedated. I have made a choice to stay with pain and avoid sedation. I have had to find ways to control my reaction to this pain, and this blog will be describing what I have tried and what I am still doing. This headache has the impact that I cannot concentrate on something for longer than 30 minutes. Sometimes it's 20 and other times it's 40 minutes. The average is 30 minutes. After this time, the pain reaches a level that I lose focus and I have to rest, distract myself, or meditate to reduce the pain. When it reduces sufficiently, I can return to what I'm doing. My goal is to find something that I can do in my life that gives me personal satisfaction and that I can earn a good living. At the moment, I'm doing market research. I'm one of those people that knocks on your door and asks for 15 minutes of your time. This suits me perfectly at the moment. I usually get a break between surveys, which helps prevent my headache getting too bad. The whiplash injury has caused some inflammation in my body, and this has caused my MS symptoms to return. I have not had a relapse, but the scarring in my nervous system has become active again. As a result, I now have a heavy right leg and my fatigue has returned. This has meant that I'm using a walking stick again, as my right foot has a tendency to drag. This could cause me to trip, which would not be nice. So that's it. That was my first blog post, posted nearly 3 years ago. And my circumstances actually have changed since that. My walking has deteriorated even further. And now I'm using functional electrical stimulation. And I also have another device which helps me to walk. And I can no longer be a market researcher because that needed me walking. However, since then, there have been several opportunities that I've taken. And this has allowed me to expand into a different way of being useful, I hope, to society. To further this aim, I have been employed by IMI Paradigm, which is a European conglomerate that is looking for ways of providing guidelines on how to bring the patient involved in medicine much sooner. This has been very interesting and has led me to start training to be a patient expert with UPATI. And I'm also doing some work with IPOSI, which is the Irish Patients Organisation. Also, which has been very interesting, I have now become a research assistant in the university in Galway on the COB MS trial. And this is a study about a new technique using occupational therapy to treat cognitive problems in people with MS. So I've been there for nearly 9 months now, and it has been really interesting to be part of the development of a new therapy. And also I've been able to share my experience, and this has helped to inform how we will be presenting the therapy to the patients. And I hope it will be better. So that's where I am now. I'm still living in Connemara, and I have expanded my reach around the world, being involved with various groups, including MS Pals and the Shift MS group as well. So hopefully next week there will be another blog post and then a few more thoughts. And thank you very much for listening. Please press subscribe to be informed of when my next podcast is going to be published. Thank you for listening. My name is Robert Joyce.